Howdy, folks. Today we're looking at Tangent Comics, The Joker #1 from 1997 in DC. Tangent marches on as we finally meet the event's breakout star, inasmuch as such a strange, self-contained event can be said to have had a breakout. It should come as no surprise that a heroic Joker is an idea that had some legs, but it's worth recalling this was still 2 years before Harley Quinn made her first appearance in the DCU proper, during the No Man's Land Mega event. She was still a character who'd only appeared in the cartoon and still only as a villain. Of course, it's also worth recalling that the first 2 years of Harley's first DCU ongoing would be written by Karl Kesel, the same man who wrote our comic book today, also later responsible for defining Harley's first movements as a protagonist in her own right. Coincidence? Perhaps, but today's story would seem to imply there are no such things as coincidences where the Joker's involved. She's everywhere and nowhere at once, a force for justice in New Atlantis. That's the official name for the Atlanta rebuilt in the wake of the event's founding disaster, the 1962 nuclear exchange that atomized Florida and Cuba. That disaster looms large over our story, with the bare handful of survivors and their children scarred for life by proximity to the devastation, even as the rest of the world tries its absolute best to move on and forget a sadly relevant state of affairs. These are the stakes, with the Joker's rationale being a desire to show up the oppressive government in this dystopian alternate world. Of course, the immediate example we're given as to the nature of this dystopia is 4 students hospitalized in a campus protest, so perhaps our understanding of a dystopia needs to be slightly tweaked. Another sadly relevant bulletin from 30 years ago. The Joker's motivations are unambiguously political in nature, even if her personal history remains shrouded. Her origin and even her true identity remain unrevealed. The issue's filled with red herrings on the matter, ultimately leaving the door open, but implying that this Joker is actually one person pretending to be multiple people, in a manner not dissimilar to Moon Knight's original status quo. Later developments in subsequent Tangent events would clarify the matter, but we're not reading the later Tangent events. In any event, Kesel and his collaborators seem to be having a great time here. Matt Haley is penciling, someone who younger readers might not be as familiar with because he was able to leverage early success in comics into a career in Hollywood, with only brief returns in recent years for a handful of covers. His comics work was underrated. He had a good hand for cheesecake adventure books, which explains his work for both Wonder Woman and the earliest incarnation of the Birds of Prey around the same time. If anything, Kesel might even be having too much fun, stuffing the issue with introductions to Tangent versions of characters like Dollman, Big Barda, Sergeant Rock, and Captain Carrot, to say nothing of Harley Quinn, who appears here in a Tangent version 2 years prior to her DCU premiere.